welcome to this week's What's for Dinner video. My name is Ashley. I'm going to be showing you 3 different meals I made this past week. I don't always follow recipes exactly, but if you're interested, I've linked some similar recipes down below. The first dinner I'm going to be showing you, I made some Philly-Cheesesteak grilled cheeses. This was definitely a huge hit. I'm just starting off with my bell peppers. I'm just going to use 1 green bell pepper and part of a yellow onion for this recipe. Just taking my green bell pepper and just going to cut those up into strips. Next, I'm just going to take part of a yellow onion and do the same thing. So I'm just going to chop up maybe 1/4 of the onion into little strips as well. Next up, I'm going to work on my steak. I'm just taking my piece of steak. I unfortunately have no idea about red meat, so I don't know what part of steak this is. I'm just going to cut that up into small strips. This is definitely kind of hard to slice it pretty thin. If you have advice on how to cut up really thin pieces of steak, definitely let me know. Next, I'm going to begin cooking up my steak. So to my pan, I just have a little bit of olive oil heating up. I'm just going to throw in all of my steak and season lightly with some salt, pepper, and garlic powder. I have my pan set on medium-high and I'm just going to cook the steak until it is all the way cooked through. Once the steak was done, I just removed it to a clean plate and let it rest. Next, I'm going to work on my bell pepper and onion. I just added a little bit more olive oil to that same pan, and I'm just going to cook these up until they're nice and soft. I like to have my pan set on medium-high, maybe like a 7 or an 8, just because I like to get a little brown on the veggies. So once these were done, it is time to assemble the grilled cheeses. So to some sourdough bread, I'm just going to add some mayo, and I'm going to make this pretty cheesy. So I'm laying 1 slice of cheese on the bottom, topping it with the bell pepper and onion, and then topping that with a lot of steak. Then I'm going to add 2 more slices of cheese on top of that. Now that is 1 hefty sandwich. So to my pan, I just melted some butter. This is set on medium-high heat. Just going to place that down and I'm going to cover with a lid. This just helps everything stay together, but also helps the cheese melt a lot quicker. So once it was nice and brown on the one side, then I just flipped it. That looks absolutely amazing. So once it was done, I just set it aside and cut it. I just served these with some crinkle cut fries. This is how everything looked when it was done. Husband definitely loved it. So the next dinner I'm going to be showing you, I made some yummy chicken skewers. I'm absolutely obsessed with chicken skewers and rice. It just seems so fresh. First, I'm just going to start out with my chicken breast. I'm just taking a couple chicken breasts and cutting those up into nice thick cubes. You want them kind of thick, that way it will go on the stick properly. I think I used 2 full chicken breasts for this recipe. This just makes making plain chicken breasts so fun. I feel like it'd be such a fun dinner, especially when you have a family. Next, I'm just going to marinate the chicken in some soy sauce and some hoisin sauce. I'm just going to give that a nice toss and make sure everything is evenly coated. Before I grill up the chicken, I'm just going to work on my veggies. So I'm just taking some asparagus, chopping the ends off. I'm just going to season with some salt, pepper, and some garlic powder. Just mixing that all together, then this will go in the oven at 350 degrees. Next, I'm going to work on skewering my chicken. I'm going to spare you me actually putting it on there. This is kind of how I do it, and then I go in with the extra chicken and just beef them up a little bit more. This is actually quite easy, but you need to be careful to not prick yourself. I've done that a couple times. So because I'm not barbecuing these, I'm just going to throw them in the oven. First, I want to get them nice and brown. So I have my pan set on high with a little bit of oil. Be careful, this will splatter, and I'm just going to brown the outsides. This is honestly my favorite part about cooking the skewers, is getting them nice and charred. Now obviously, if you're in a rush and just need to get dinner on the table, you can totally skip this step. This is more for just aesthetics. You can totally just place them in the oven and get them cooked up. So before it goes in the oven, I'm just going to brush the chicken with the soy sauce and hoisin sauce mixture. Once you're done brushing, be sure to dump out the rest of the sauce mixture because this is raw chicken. The sauce mixture is now contaminated with raw chicken. So I just cooked that until everything was up to temperature. This is how everything looked when it was done. I just served it over a bed of rice. Love this meal, 10 out of 10. Last dinner I'm going to be showing you is like a tried and true meal to me. It is pesto Alfredo with the jar. Love it. So this meal would qualify as an easy meal for me. I'm just going to take my chicken breasts and cut them up into really small bite-sized pieces. I really love really tiny pieces of chicken in my pasta. This is a meal I've been making long before I really knew how to cook. This is so easy to me and I absolutely love this meal. Next, I'm just going to work on cooking the chicken. So to my pan, I have a little bit of oil heating up. I'm just going to throw my chicken in and season with all of my favorite seasonings. I like to use Cajun seasoning, Montreal chicken seasoning, salt, paprika. So I'm just going to cook this chicken up on about medium heat until it is all the way cooked through. At the same time, I do have a box of penne pasta boiling in a pot next to me. I can definitely tell you I was picking at this chicken once it was done. I just love eating chicken like this. Next, I'm just going to assemble everything. So I drained the penne noodles. I'm going to add my pesto. I'm just using Rana pesto, and I'm just going to use a jarred Alfredo, nothing specific, and add my chicken in and just mix this all together. That looks so good. I just want a bowl right now. This is definitely an OG meal for me. Next, of course, I'm going to add in my Parmesan cheese. Add as much cheese as you'd like. I love a good amount of Parmesan cheese. Lastly, I'm just going to add a little bit of Cajun seasoning and some salt. This is how everything looked when it was done. I just served it with a little salad and a slice of garlic bread for my husband. Thank you so much for watching this week's What's for Dinner video. Make sure you come back next week for another one.